Thank you for joining. Today we have a really special guest. Her name is Chantel. She has an incredible story. Thank you, Chantel, for joining. I know you just got out of training, I think, right? You're
Yeah,
kickboxing?
kickboxing.
Nice. Thank you. So you're all pumped up.
Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, I usually start by just introducing myself, and Allison usually would co-host with me, but she's in Thailand right now. Maybe doing some kickboxing of her own. No, she's doing yoga. So yeah, Allison and I had really profound changes happen a few years ago when we took gut health more seriously and started investing in our health with Purium superfoods. To me, it seemed at the beginning like something else I've already seen and tried, and I was skeptical about it. And it took just diving in and trying it to learn that flooding your cells with that quality of nourishment and organic nutrition, combining that with the gut detoxification of Biomedic, it resulted in something I could never have imagined. And for myself, it was physical. And I'll show you my before and after picture, where very quickly I shed a lot of inflammation and bloating and about 30 pounds of weight that wasn't serving me anymore. And I tried a long time to get rid of that weight, but with dieting and exercise, and it just wouldn't go away. What we're dealing with now is root cause solution starting from the gut. And this resulted in, for myself, a physical transformation. I also lost my asthma and my allergies that I had my whole life. And then for Allison, she also experienced a physical transformation, her eczema clearing up, and she had a skin condition that she was medicating for. But beyond that, it was a huge mental health upgrade where she was able to go off of several medications, antidepressants and SSRI, sleep medication, diuretic laxatives, Ritalin, all these different Band-Aid solutions that, because she had fallen through the cracks of the medical system, at one point she was on uppers and downers at the same time. So it's a slippery slope. She was looking for answers, and it turns out that going back to the way we ate 100 years ago and avoiding pesticides was part of the solution. So we have here Chantel, who similarly experienced an important transformation. And I wanted to introduce you, Chantel. Can you just give us like a brief picture of where you were a few years ago?
Yeah, sure. So I gained a lot of weight after getting pregnant and reached my highest weight at COVID lockdown time, as many of us probably did. And I was up to 315 pounds at the time, which was very heavy for my body to handle. So that's where I'm coming from. And I also had a whole bunch of health conditions that were just exacerbated by that weight gain as well.
And so you reached your highest weight during the COVID lockdowns, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that amplified the other illnesses that you were struggling with, right?
Yeah.
What made you begin to gain the weight, in your opinion?
Well, it started with my pregnancy for sure. I have hypermobility, which means that my joints and my ligaments are already too loose. So when I started gaining weight in my pregnancy, it was causing me a lot of pain. I was actually not even really able to walk from the car to the house without help at that point, and I was only 5 months pregnant by then. So it was a sort of a domino effect from there, where I just kept gaining weight because I was in too much pain to move my body. And I also was not being very careful about what I was eating. I just, I'm pregnant, I can eat whatever I want. um, so it just kept spiraling and spiraling
Mhm.
from the pain issues, and the weight just kept piling on.
Yeah, I think it's really relatable, especially during like such a stressful time. And did you have any mental effects from that as well?
Oh, for sure, definitely. Well, I'm an autistic person, and I also have ADHD. Um, and I was also struggling with anxiety and depression and social anxiety, um, a lot of things like that. And so that would definitely contribute to the weight gain, and also my quality of life was deeply affected. Um, but I found that since making a commitment to my health and to organic food and high quality superfoods, um, I'm able to be myself again. The anxiety and the depression are gone, and my autism symptoms and my ADHD symptoms are very, very much reduced.
That's so grateful for that. That's really cool. And so nutrition, right? That
Hmm.
was a goal, just to get more high quality nutrition into your body. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, and when you could you talk about when you were first introduced to Purium, and where it went from that point, how it came into your life, like, are you were already, concerned with nutrition, quality, ingredients, and then when Purium came into your life, what did you recognize the benefits, or at least what made it different right away?
definitely. So Um, going back to the depression and anxiety, I started there. That was my first focal point for my path towards getting better. And a friend of mine, at Vienna, she told me about this test called the Braverman test, which you answer a bunch of questions, and then from there, it can determine what what brain chemistry could be off, and then it recommends supplements to take. So I tried that for a while, and that was it. It was a little bit helpful. It was helping me. And then my friend Veronica, um, she is so amazing. I love her so much. She introduced me to Purium, and at first I was like, I didn't really understand what Purium was offering, what it had on the table as
Mhm.
far as superior quality. So I was just like, "Oh, Veronica, I love Veronica. Let me just support my friend. I love my friend. I'll grab something from her because she's doing this thing with Purium." And so I bought a bunch of stuff, and it was really good, and I felt great, but I wasn't committed to it at first. I was just sort of like doing it for my friend, you know. Um, and then I started to order a little bit more here and there, and I was like, okay, wait, there's definitely something to this. And then as I was learning about all the supplements that I was taking, I was also doing a lot of research into, oh, wait, it's actually not the best idea to be using synthetic supplements, because it's going to create a dependency in my body. I should be helping my body produce and create what it needs by giving it natural building blocks from whole foods. This is the best way to be doing it. And then I was like, Purium, what Veronica introduced me to, this is what Purium offers. And it's clean, and it's triple tested for purity, and it's organic, and it's in line with the way that I'm taking my life right now. So maybe I should get more serious about this. And so I did. And from there, my wellness and my results have just skyrocketed, and it just keeps getting better.
So cool. So just like a quick like rundown of what you've achieved physically. Since you were introduced to Purium, you've lost 70 pounds so far.
So far, and still going.
Amazing. And then and you're recovering naturally with no medications from arthritis that you were first diagnosed with at 14 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, in my big toe. I was diagnosed at 14 with arthritis in my big toe. So weird and random, but yeah. And then later on, I was diagnosed again in my ankles. So that's a non-issue at this point. I'm not having any pain or inflammation from that. Um,
And you had plantar fasciitis as well, right?
yeah, and I think that had a lot to do with the weight, um, because it's a ligament issue in the bottom of your feet,
Hmm.
but also because I'm hypermobile and my ligaments are already too stretchy and things like that. So, um, Purium, I believe that Purium helped me with these issues because it gives your body the building blocks that it needs to regenerate those ligaments and tissues.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, no more plantar fasciitis, no more arthritis. I also have well, I don't feel it anymore, but I've been diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. So I had a lot of pain and inflammation in my spine and in my back. And then also the hypermobility, because your body is too flexible and your joints are too loose and your ligaments are too loose, then your muscles overcompensate and you get a lot of tension, and that causes a lot of pain in the body. Um, but I'm not having any problems with that anymore. Like I'm still hypermobile, that doesn't go away. That's part of my genetic makeup, but I'm not having any of the painful side effects from it anymore.
Right. So like I think this is common is where people struggling with pain, it's due to inflammation, your
Yeah.
inflammatory response. And it's not to say that like inflammation is a bad thing. It's just like a natural response your body is responding. But it's how well it can handle it. And so the certain food you were eating, right, would cause an inflammatory response.
Yeah, especially for me, gluten, and I'm not celiac, and I got all the tests done, and I'm not gluten intolerant. But for whatever reason, if I eat the gluten, my body is in pain for like a week. So I think that has a lot to do with a learned response that the body can develop when you haven't been eating organic your whole life, and your body says it correlates the gluten to the inflammatory response from the glyphosate. And even if you switch to organic gluten after your body starts to correlate the one with the other, it's going to have that learned response anyways. And so I think that's probably why I have a problem with gluten
Yeah.
still. Um,
I think also that connection of the wheat source to the glyphosate toxicity, right? Because
yeah.
I think there's been a surge in this gluten allergies, gluten intolerance, that is just paralleled by the overuse of pesticides and glyphosate. And because we know that glyphosate, it's a water soluble toxin that even if you do eat organic, it's in the rainwater, it's detected in umbilical cords, and it's everywhere. So when someone is thinking that it's a gluten sensitivity, gluten allergy, it could be the glyphosate, because I've read about and I've talked to people who, when they eat gluten in Europe, in countries where they don't use any pesticides, they're able to tolerate wheat there, and bread, and all like gluten sources versus in the States. So there's definitely some connections there. And so without going too much into it, it's like glyphosate is this neurotoxin, and it's an antibiotic. It wreaks havoc on our gut microbiome, yet it's so pervasive. It's everywhere. I think what we have to do is filter it out the same way we would buy a quality water filter, knowing that our tap water has heavy metals in it, toxins, whatever. So I wanted to speak about a couple other things. So you suffered with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, right?
Yeah, I did previously.
And so
Um,
what do you think the most important things you did to help yourself heal your liver?
I think that first of all, committing to toxin-free organic whole foods, um, not consuming, like being, I'm very strict about not eating anything that's not organic. I
Mhm.
very, very rarely make an exception because I understand the consequences at this point in my life. Um, as well as um, when I'm when I'm focusing on taking the weight off my body, losing the weight, I'm totally fine with it being a very slow process, because if you try to go too quickly with your weight loss, you're gonna overload the liver with all of that fat that it needs to process. And you can actually make fatty liver worse when you begin to lose weight if you're trying to go too fast and you're just throwing all this stuff at your liver. Um, and the other thing is, as I was losing weight, I was making sure I was using toxin binders like fulvic zeolite and crackcell chlorella, because when you are heavier, all of the toxins that you consume, whether through the food or the water or the air, um, your fat cells have a tendency to store all those toxins as a sort of like a safety mechanism for your body, so that your body doesn't have to process it all at once.
Mhm.
So as you begin to lose the weight, the fat cells begin to release the toxins that it was holding on to for you, and that all has to go through your liver all over again too. So that's a big reason you want to lose the weight slowly, but also a big reason why you want to be using the toxin binders, because
Exactly.
it helps you flush out all those toxins rather than having it circulate through your system over and over again, and just sort of like floating around in there causing havoc and going, oh, I like this organ now, let me just hang out here.
It's so and amazing how, our gut health is connected to our organ functioning, lungs, brain, your skin, it's your largest organ. So
Mhm.
it's coming from good gut health. So you are adding in key minerals, and you're using fulvic zeolite and chlorella as like a natural chelator, so to flush out those toxins. And all that is
Yeah.
already part of the ULT, the ultimate lifestyle transformation has these things, but you, I think, took it the extra mile and added some more, knowing
Mhm.
the benefits of those. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Then can you speak to your fibroids, your uterine fibroids?
Yep. So I was first diagnosed with fibroids when I was about 26. And I was in my thinner body then, before I got pregnant. And um, it was kind of a shock to me, because, I'm in my 20s, everything's cool, I'm looking good, having a fun time. And then all of a sudden I was in excruciating pain and I was doubled over. So I had to go to the hospital, and then they scanned me and checked me out. And they're like, oh, look at you, have 3 massive fibroids in your uterus. And the biggest one was like 10 centimeters big. Like, it was huge. And there were 3 of them in there. So I think it was 10 centimeters, 7 or 8 centimeters, and 3 centimeters were the sizes of all 3 of those fibroids. Um, and so I was just walking around with those in me, not knowing what to do or really caring much, because, I'm in my 20s. I'm sure it's fine, whatever. And also, the doctors were like, those fibroids are huge. Good luck getting pregnant. Like, it's
Right.
probably not going to happen. So I was like, all right, free pass. And then I did get pregnant. So I grew a baby in my uterus, and she was sharing space with those 3 massive fibroids. And so I had her, and she was huge. And um, yeah, so the fibroids, they happened long before I got pregnant. So it wasn't like a pregnancy hormone issue.
Mhm.
Um, but when she was in there, they actually got a little bit bigger. And then I gave birth to her, and they did not go away. I was like, because the doctor told me, well, when you give birth, the hormones will change and maybe they'll shrink, but they didn't. Um,
You still had an
and
imbalance there.
yeah, and they didn't shrink at all or go away at all until I started living a healthier lifestyle and incorporating Purium into my healthier lifestyle. And I think that has a lot to do with how the whole food nutrition balanced my hormones out for me, at like a root cause level.
Mhm.
And so now today I get to have no giant fibroids. I think there's just one tiny one left. Like, the biggest one has shrunk down to like a 2 centimeter fibroid, and the other ones are gone. And that
Incredible.
one will be gone shortly as well.
That's so good to hear that. And something you can monitor like that, it's a testament to doing
Yeah.
something consistently, adopting these new habits that you get permanent change from. It's not just a quick fix, medical route. So I wanted to speak because I do want to respect everyone's time. Your autism, your ADHD, what are the symptoms that you've noticed improvements with in that space?
I think the symptoms I've noticed the most improvement is I don't have very much burnout anymore, or meltdowns. And my meltdowns would look like getting so overwhelmed that I would have to like go outside and scream at the top of my lungs. Like, it was intense, and I don't have that anymore. I still get a little frustrated, I'm human, but nothing like I used to. I have more social motivation. I'm able to accept invitations and say yes and feel excited about it, rather than not really want to say yes. Maybe I will say yes, and then I'll come up with an excuse to say no later. Like, no, I'm here. I'm ready for it. Bring the world to me. um, Life is a little bit more easy to manage. I still have a messy house. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to cure that, but um, I'm just more less overstimulated, more able to manage my sensory problems,
Mhm.
and just be able to get things done without dropping the ball. No more brain fog. I'm able to focus on tasks better, things like that.
That is very cool. That is really good to hear.
Mhm.
Allison too struggled with ADD her whole life. She was put on Ritalin at a very young age, which again, these are like amphetamines essentially that can disrupt your gut. And after a lifetime of that, it's hard to undo what the damage has been done. But because we could regenerate our cells every 7 years, and we're doing something that is proven in preclinical trials to remove glyphosate, these are the results. This is what happens. And you are one story of thousands.
Mhm.
So yeah, just to do you think that what are you focused on now that you've had this incredible health transformation? What are your goals?
I just really want everybody to know that they can have these types of changes. Like, I want to be able to share this with as many people who are willing to listen to me, and not just be like, oh, she's just trying to sell me something. Like, no, actually, this is saving my life, and it's saving many lives. And I wanted to save your life too, because I love you. Like, it's, I don't know. I don't know how to express it without sounding too much about it.
Yeah, I know those feelings. Yeah, because when you are in the nutrition space, it's very muddled. It's like there's a lot out there. And the same reason for me coming in, I thought it was just like everything else that I had tried and didn't get much results. And, it was just some other gimmick, another fad thing. But
Hmm.
when you actually look at ingredients and you look at the vitamins and minerals on there, and there's no chemical name in brackets next to our vitamins, it's all from food sources that have been tested for contaminants and heavy metals. And because Purium is the manufacturer and distributor, that's good peace of mind knowing that they care about quality. And much like we should care about the quality of our calories versus the quantity, you know, um, that applies to the ingredients as well. So I love
Totally.
the story, Chantal, and I think because this is a calling, and it gives you purpose. You will attract abundance. You will bring in what you've done for yourself. Your cup is now overflowing, and it's amazing to see, because your story, I think, is so powerful that someone out there will see this and it could change the trajectory of their life. So I
I
really,
really hope so.
I know
And
it.
it's all nice to talk about my abundance, but honestly, truly, if I could give this away to people for free, I would.
Yeah.
It's not even about that for me. Like, yeah, we live in a world where we have to make money to support ourselves, but that's not what this is about for me. I really, really want people to have this nutrition in their lives, and I want them to feel as amazing as I feel.
Having real food is something that has eluded us for too long. And yeah, they should be dropping biomedic from helicopters, because it's just this, it's how we're going to take our power back and heal our gut and heal the soil and just change the tracks that we're on right now, which seem to be towards, like opioid crisis, obesity epidemics, shorter lifespan, chronic illness, more medication. This is not a future that I want to be a part of. And I don't think a lot of people are on board for that. So we need to take our power back and vote with our dollar what kind of food we want for ourselves and for our families. And here is a way to do that. And there's no risk. It's not like you need to get involved with this organization if you just want to try it. There's no commitment. You could try it, and if you don't like it, you can get your money back after 2 months. You can't say that for the cold pressed juice you're going to get around the corner or something you'll buy at the pharmacy. It just doesn't work like that. So like Chantel's motivation here is just to help people with it. If you can align with that mission and get on board with that too, then this is an incredible opportunity. It could change your life like it did for us. So thank you so much, Chantel. If you have any final words that you'd like to add, please go for it.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me to talk and share my story. And it's been really nice to chat with you.
Amazing. Yes, we'll see each other soon. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. We'll post the replay, and have a beautiful night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Bye. Thanks.